December 7, 1944, Trier, Germany. Oberst Heinrich Müller examined the intelligence report with visible disdain, his weathered fingers leaving creases in the cheap paper. The colonel's jaw tightened as he read, his iron cross catching the dim light from the window. "Look at this," Müller said, tossing the document across the oak table with contempt. "The Americans think they can overwhelm us with their mechanical rubbish." Hauptmann Wilhelm Schmidt, his executive officer for 3 years, nodded sharply while adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "Soft metal coffins, Herr Oberst. Their armor barely stops our 88s. We destroyed 43 of their Shermans at Kasserine with just 12 Panthers." Major Klaus Hoffmann, the battalion's intelligence officer and a cautious analyst by nature, shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "The production reports from Speer's ministry suggest the Americans are manufacturing at unprecedented rates. We should consider," but Müller waved him off with an impatient gesture. "Numbers mean nothing when our Tigers can kill 5 of theirs before taking a single hit. At Villers-Bocage, one Tiger destroyed 25 tanks in 15 minutes. At Kursk, our kill ratio was 7-1. At Arracourt, we achieved 4-1 despite their air superiority." The mathematics were undeniable. German armor and crew quality created combat superiority that numbers could not overcome. What Müller didn't know, what none of them could have known as they reviewed reports in that cold headquarters building, was that American industrial capacity would deploy over 50,000 Sherman tanks within 18 months. The numbers would become catastrophic: 300 Shermans for every German heavy tank. 85,000 American tanks produced total, 4,000 German Panthers and Tigers combined. The confident dismissal in that Trier headquarters would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in 300,000 German armored crew casualties. Oberst Heinrich Müller served as the mocker, the senior panzer officer who dismissed American industrial innovation as quantity without quality. His career included 12 confirmed tank kills at Kursk and command of a battalion that destroyed 67 Allied tanks at Arracourt. Müller viewed combat as an art form requiring superior training, mechanical excellence, and tactical brilliance that Americans lacked. He believed German tactical doctrine and equipment superiority would overcome any numerical disadvantage through superior crew performance and battlefield management. Major Klaus Hoffmann became the warner, the intelligence officer who compiled production data and warned headquarters that American manufacturing capacity would overwhelm German qualitative advantages. Hoffmann analyzed steel production reports, factory output statistics, and industrial mobilization patterns that suggested catastrophe. His warnings went systematically ignored by officers who believed combat prowess trumped manufacturing scale. Hoffmann collected evidence from captured documents, prisoner interrogations, and industrial intelligence that revealed American capacity exceeding German estimates by factors of 8-1. Feldwebel Ernst Weber served as the witness, a Tiger tank commander with 8 years' experience who encountered American numerical superiority firsthand. Weber participated in 19 major engagements between 1942 and 1945, observing the transformation from German tactical dominance to American material supremacy. His survival through the entire war provided unique perspective on industrial warfare's evolution. Weber witnessed how American forces adapted tactics to exploit numerical advantages that negated German technical superiority through simple material preponderance. German armored forces entered late 1944 with justified confidence based on consistent combat superiority. At Villers-Bocage in June 1944, a single Tiger destroyed 25 British tanks, 14 half-tracks, and 14 Bren carriers in 15 minutes. Kill ratio, 25-1. At Kursk in July 1943, German armor achieved 7-1 kill ratios despite attacking prepared Soviet defenses. At Arracourt in September 1944, the 5th Panzer Army destroyed 100 Allied tanks while losing 48. Kill ratio, 2-1 even under Allied air dominance. Recent engagements reinforced this pattern of tactical excellence overwhelming material numbers. At Mortain in August 1944, German counterattack destroyed 31 American tanks in 6 hours. At Metz in October 1944, German defenders knocked out 47 Shermans in 3 days of fighting. German tanks possessed superior specifications across every category that defined armored combat effectiveness. The Tiger I mounted an 88mm gun, firing 10-kilogram armor-piercing rounds at 810 meters per second, capable of penetrating 138 millimeters of armor at 2,000 meters. The Panther mounted a 75mm gun, penetrating 124 millimeters at the same range. Tiger armor reached 120 millimeters on the turret front. Panther glacis plates measured 80 millimeters at 55 degrees, providing 140 millimeters effective thickness. Sherman front armor measured 51 millimeters vertical. Sherman guns penetrated 88 millimeters at 500 meters. The mechanical specifications created what crews called the killing zone, where German tanks destroyed Shermans before American guns achieved effective range. German optics provided superior target acquisition. German crews trained for 18 months before combat assignment. German tactical doctrine emphasized defensive positioning that maximized armor and gun advantages. American forces suffered catastrophic losses in recent engagements that validated German confidence. At Kasserine Pass in February 1943, German forces destroyed 100 tanks and 208 artillery pieces while inflicting 6,500 casualties. American units retreated 50 miles. At Fade Pass, German armor destroyed 44 Sherman tanks in 20 minutes. The Americans lost 183 tanks total during the Tunisia campaign. At Anzio in February 1944, German counterattacks destroyed 64 tanks in 3 days. Sherman losses at Normandy averaged 30 per day during June 1944. American casualty rates in armored divisions reached 580% annually, requiring complete crew replacement every 8 weeks. At Aachen in October 1944, American forces lost 53 tanks capturing a single city. The mathematics were brutal. American forces traded lives and equipment at rates that appeared unsustainable. Oberst Müller's combat record exemplified German armored excellence through 4 years of mechanized warfare. Müller commanded a panzer company at Kursk, destroying 12 T-34 tanks in 6 hours with 0 losses. His battalion achieved 67 confirmed kills at Arracourt while losing 21 Panthers. Müller personally destroyed 8 American tanks during the Lorraine campaign. His crews averaged 42 months combat experience. His maintenance section kept operational readiness above 70% despite supply shortages. His tactical doctrine emphasized firing discipline, crew coordination, and exploitation of terrain that maximized German advantages in gun performance and armor protection. Müller received the Knight's Cross for destroying 18 Soviet tanks during the Kharkov counteroffensive. His leadership produced kill ratios consistently exceeding 3-to-1 across diverse combat environments. Major Hoffmann reviewed intelligence data that contradicted prevailing confidence, but found his analysis dismissed by operational commanders. Hoffmann's November report documented American tank production reaching 2,200 monthly compared to German output of 270 Panthers and 104 Tigers. Hoffmann calculated American industrial capacity exceeded German production by 8-to-1. His analysis projected American forces would deploy 20 Shermans for every German heavy tank by March 1945. Hoffmann warned that quantitative superiority would overwhelm qualitative advantages once American numbers reached critical mass. Senior officers rejected these projections, insisting crew quality and mechanical superiority would maintain German battlefield dominance regardless of production disparities. Hoffmann documented American steel production at 89 million tons annually versus German output of 28 million tons. Hoffmann's reports included intercepted American industrial newspapers describing production methods and factory expansions that suggested unlimited capacity. Feldwebel Weber's combat experience through 19 major engagements reinforced belief in German tactical superiority despite growing numerical disadvantages. Weber destroyed his first Sherman at Kasserine from 2,400 meters, watching the American tank explode before its crew detected his Tiger's position. At Anzio, Weber's platoon destroyed 11 Shermans in 40 minutes while repositioning 3 times to avoid American artillery. Weber observed American crews abandoning tanks after single penetrating hits, while German crews fought vehicles until ammunition depletion or mobility kill. Weber's Tiger suffered 14 hits during the Lorraine campaign without crew casualties, the thick armor deflecting American 75mm rounds that left visible gouges but failed to penetrate. Weber believed superior German training and equipment created unbridgeable advantages over American quantity. Weber's crew achieved 18 confirmed kills through 1944 without losing a single Tiger to enemy fire. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. German armor achieved consistent kill ratios between 2-to-1 and 7-to-1 across diverse terrain and tactical situations. German mechanical superiority allowed engagement at ranges where American guns proved ineffective. German crew training produced firing accuracy and tactical flexibility that American formations could not match. These factors suggested that numerical inferiority posed manageable challenges rather than existential threats to German armored effectiveness. August 1943, Detroit, Michigan. William Knudsen surveyed the Chrysler tank arsenal assembly lines where workers installed 75 guns into Sherman turrets at precise intervals. This single facility produced 47 complete tanks daily. Every 17 minutes, another 18-ton fighting vehicle rolled toward the testing yard. The massive building employed 17,000 workers across 3 shifts, operating equipment valued at $42 million. Machinery operated continuously, transforming raw steel into combat-ready armor with industrial precision that exceeded Germany's entire monthly tank production. The facility consumed 840 tons of steel daily. Electrical systems drew 12 megawatts continuously. Rail cars delivered components from 847 suppliers across 14 states. American production progression revealed industrial mobilization that transformed national capacity within 18 months. In July 1941, America produced just 28 tanks monthly using repurposed tractor facilities and converted automobile plants. By December 1941, production reached 380 tanks monthly as purpose-built arsenals came online. By July 1942, production achieved 1,850 tanks monthly as automotive industry expertise revolutionized military manufacturing. By August 1943, the Chrysler tank arsenal alone was producing 1,410 tanks monthly, exceeding Germany's total output of 1,050 armored vehicles. This single facility was producing more tanks than the entire German industrial base, while American production continued expanding across 23 additional facilities. By December 1943, combined American production reached 2,200 tanks monthly. By June 1944, production peaked at 2,400 monthly. Americans built more tanks in 6 months than Germany manufactured during the entire war. Mary Catherine Thompson, previously a schoolteacher from Ann Arbor, operated the turret ring machining station producing 68 precision-cut steel rings per 8-hour shift. Thompson's single workstation machined components requiring tolerances within 0.002 inches using automated equipment that reduced production time from 14 hours to 43 minutes per unit. Her daily output of turret rings exceeded the monthly production capacity of Germany's Magdeburg tank assembly facility. Thompson represented 200,000 women entering American armored vehicle manufacturing, bringing educational backgrounds and attention to detail that improved quality control while accelerating production schedules. She produced more critical tank components in 1 week than an entire German workshop produced monthly, exemplifying how American industrial culture transformed military manufacturing efficiency. Thompson earned $63 weekly, more income than German skilled workers received monthly. Her productivity demonstrated how motivated civilian workers outperformed conscripted labor. James Washington, from Birmingham, Alabama, operated the final drive assembly station installing transmission components at 20-minute intervals. His automated hydraulic systems reduced assembly time from 6 hours to 18 minutes per tank. Washington's single station produced 72 complete final drive assemblies daily. His daily output exceeded the entire monthly transmission production of Germany's Friedrichshafen facility. Washington joined 175,000 African-American workers in tank manufacturing, operating advanced machinery that previous generations had been systematically excluded from accessing. His technical proficiency and reliability demonstrated how democratic industrial systems mobilized talent that authoritarian societies squandered through racist ideology. Washington's innovations in assembly sequencing reduced component defects by 18%. His suggestions improved transmission reliability that increased Sherman operational availability above German equipment despite simpler design. Charles Wilson, $1-a-year executive from General Motors, managed production engineering for the entire Detroit tank arsenal complex. Wilson implemented automotive assembly techniques that reduced Sherman production time from 10,000 man-hours to 5,400 man-hours per tank. His standardization protocols ensured components manufactured in 23 different facilities achieved interchangeability within 0.005-inch tolerances. Wilson's management systems coordinated 89,000 workers across 6 states, delivering 1,247 tanks monthly by mid-1944. His organizational innovations proved that experienced corporate leadership could revolutionize military production when provided clear objectives and adequate resources. Wilson established quality control systems that reduced field maintenance requirements by 27%. His logistics coordination reduced component delivery delays from 6 days to 14 hours average. Americans discarded 140 tons of steel scrap daily from the Detroit tank arsenal. Germany allocated 120 tons of steel monthly to entire tank repair depots. American workers threw away metal shavings and rejected components that represented Germany's total monthly allocation for field maintenance. The waste stream from Sherman production exceeded German conservation programs that rationed steel by the kilogram, revealing industrial abundance that authoritarian efficiency could never match. Americans recycled only 53% of manufacturing waste because disposal proved cheaper than reclamation. Germans recycled 97% of waste because replacement material remained unavailable. The waste from single-shift quality control testing exceeded Germany's monthly ammunition production for training exercises. American workers fired 800 rounds daily testing each Sherman's main gun and coaxial machine gun. Germany allocated 400 rounds monthly for entire Panzer battalion training programs. American test firing consumed more ammunition verifying individual tank quality than German forces allocated for maintaining crew proficiency across combat units. This single quality control procedure exceeded German training capacity. Americans test-fired every tank produced. Germans test-fired 1 tank per production batch of 12 vehicles to conserve ammunition. Workers threw away defective gun barrels that Germany rationed by serial number to frontline units. American quality control rejected 220 75mm barrels monthly for minor bore inconsistencies. Germany allocated 180 replacement barrels monthly for its entire Panzer force. Americans discarded more tank gun barrels for failing stringent quality standards than Germany manufactured for combat replacement, demonstrating industrial capacity that treated precision components as disposable items when slight imperfections appeared. American rejection standards specified bore variations under 0.008 inches warranted disposal. German standards accepted variations to 0.025 inches because replacement remained impossible. The Detroit tank arsenal cafeteria discarded more food daily than Trier garrison received monthly through official rations. Workers disposed of 1,800 pounds of prepared meals daily. German military units in Trier received 1,200 pounds monthly of supplemental rations beyond basic allocations. American industrial workers threw away more calories in cafeteria waste than German combat soldiers received as enhanced nutrition, revealing material abundance that extended beyond military hardware into everyday sustenance for manufacturing personnel. American workers consumed 3,200 calories daily on average. German combat troops received 2,800-calorie daily rations when supplies permitted. The aluminum scrap from 1 week of Sherman production could have built Germany's entire monthly aircraft allocation. Americans generated 420 tons of aluminum waste weekly from tank component manufacturing. Germany allocated 380 tons monthly for fighter aircraft construction. The rejected aluminum from American quality control and manufacturing processes exceeded total German aircraft industry allocation, demonstrating material wealth that rendered conservation unnecessary, while German forces implemented elaborate recycling systems to maintain minimal production levels. This single aspect of American waste exceeded entire German industrial capacity for critical war materials. Major Hoffmann reviewed these production statistics in November 1944 reports from agents monitoring American industrial newspapers. Hoffmann calculated that American waste in tank manufacturing exceeded total German production capacity. His memorandum to headquarters warned that American industrial culture operated on assumptions of material abundance that German planners could not comprehend. Hoffmann projected that American production advantages would increase as additional facilities reached full capacity through 1945. His warnings emphasized that American industrial methods represented systematic advantages rather than temporary resource mobilization. Hoffmann documented that Americans discarded more steel monthly than German tank production consumed. Hoffmann's analysis concluded that German forces faced industrial opponent operating on incomprehensible scale. December 16, 1944, Ardennes Forest, Belgium, 8:47 hours. Feldwebel Weber was conducting routine maintenance inspection on his Tiger's right track when American artillery announced their presence across the valley. The first shells impacted 400 meters north at 8:47 hours, throwing frozen earth skyward. Weber saw them at 8:51 hours through morning fog, 16 Sherman tanks advancing in staggered formation across the ridge. German doctrine called for long-range engagement. Weber's gunner acquired the lead Sherman at 8:52 hours. Range 1,800 meters. At 0852-34 the 88mm gun fired. At 0852-37 the Sherman exploded. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. The American column continued advancing. At 0853-12 Weber's gunner destroyed the second Sherman. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. At 0853-48 the third Sherman erupted in flames. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. American tanks identified Weber's position at 0854-00, but their return fire fell short by 200 meters, shells impacting harmlessly into frozen ground. At 0854-23 the fourth Sherman died. Elapsed time 2 seconds. Kill time 2 seconds. Weber's Tiger fired methodically, the loader maintaining 18-second reload cycles that represented thousands of hours of training. At 0855-08 the fifth Sherman exploded. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. American forces closed range rapidly despite losses. At 0855-34 range decreased to 1,400 meters. At 0856-12 Weber destroyed the sixth Sherman. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. At 0856-56 the seventh Sherman burned. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. American tanks reached 1,200 meters at 0857-30. At 0858-01 the eighth Sherman died. Elapsed time 2 seconds. Kill time 2 seconds. At 0858-44 the ninth Sherman exploded. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. Weber's crew operated with mechanical precision, each member executing practiced movements that maximized firing rate. The remaining 7 Shermans pressed forward through their casualties. At 0859-00 range closed to 900 meters. American 75mm rounds began hitting near Weber's position. At 0859-23 Weber destroyed the 10th Sherman. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 0900-12 the 11th Sherman died. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. 5 Shermans remained at 0900-30. Range 600 meters. At 0901-08 the 12th Sherman exploded. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 0901-52 the 13th Sherman burned. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. The final 3 Shermans reached effective firing range at 0902-00. American shells struck Weber's Tiger twice. Both rounds deflected off frontal armor, leaving bright scars but achieving no penetration. At 0902-34 Weber destroyed the 14th Sherman. Elapsed time 2 seconds. Kill time 2 seconds. At 0903-18 the 15th Sherman died. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. The final Sherman turned at 0903-30 attempting withdrawal. At 0904-02 Weber's last shot struck its engine compartment. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. Total engagement duration 16 minutes 15 seconds. Enemy losses: 16 Sherman tanks complete destruction, estimated 48 crew casualties. German losses: 0. Kill ratio: 16-0. The ammunition expended in this engagement exceeded American monthly allocation for entire armored divisions based on German intelligence estimates that proved catastrophically wrong. Weber's Tiger consumed 23 rounds, destroying 16 tanks. Americans fired approximately 340 75mm rounds, achieving 0 hits. The ammunition expended by American forces in this 16-minute engagement exceeded German monthly combat allocation for battalion-level operations. What Weber didn't know was that American production replaced these 16 tanks in 7 hours of manufacturing time at Detroit facilities operating at full capacity. The Chrysler tank arsenal produced 47 tanks daily. These 16 tanks represented 1/3 of daily output from a single facility. American logistics delivered replacement Shermans to frontline units within 48 hours of combat losses. German replacement cycles required 6 weeks minimum. The mathematics were becoming incomprehensible. Americans could lose entire platoons and restore combat strength faster than German forces could repair damaged vehicles. Oberst Müller reviewed Weber's after-action report at headquarters at 1400 hours. Müller noted the engagement confirmed established patterns of German tactical superiority and mechanical excellence. The 16-0 kill ratio matched historical performance data. Müller observed that American forces demonstrated determination but lacked the tactical sophistication to exploit their numerical advantages effectively. His analysis concluded that American material superiority posed minimal threat when German forces maintained defensive positions that maximized range and armor advantages. Müller calculated that German forces could sustain defensive operations indefinitely if American tactics remained crude. Müller's confidence remained absolute despite statistical evidence suggesting unsustainable attrition dynamics. Intelligence dismissed initial reports of massive American tank concentrations as reconnaissance exaggeration compounded by poor visibility conditions. Oberst Müller reviewed patrol reports claiming American forces deployed 200 tanks near Bastogne. Müller calculated that such numbers exceeded reasonable deployment for sector defense. His analysis concluded that scouts misidentified the same units multiple times or counted support vehicles as combat tanks. Müller's experience suggested American commanders lacked the logistical sophistication to concentrate such forces effectively. Reports stating impossibly large American formations received skeptical analysis that attributed numbers to observation error rather than actual deployment patterns. Müller insisted that German intelligence standards required confirmation from 3 independent sources before accepting claims exceeding doctrinal expectations. Major Hoffmann reported to headquarters with data from prisoner interrogations and captured documents confirming unprecedented American concentration. Hoffmann's analysis documented American Third Army deploying 420 Sherman tanks across a 40-kilometer front. Documents captured from American supply units revealed daily delivery schedules that suggested continuous reinforcement from depot facilities. Hoffmann warned that American industrial capacity enabled rapid replacement of combat losses that German forces could not match. His memorandum included production comparisons showing American monthly output of 2,200 tanks versus German production of 374 armored vehicles. These statistics indicated American forces could sustain casualty rates that would cripple German formations within weeks. Hoffmann calculated that Americans could lose 200 tanks weekly and maintain numerical superiority through replacement deliveries. German forces losing 20 tanks weekly faced catastrophic degradation. American production statistics revealed industrial capacity that transformed military calculation. American factories produced 2,200 Sherman tanks monthly in late 1944. German facilities manufactured 270 Panthers and 104 Tigers monthly during the same period. A single American facility, the Detroit Tank Arsenal, exceeded entire German armored vehicle output by producing 1,410 tanks monthly. American industrial mobilization deployed mechanical capacity that German planners considered impossible based on traditional manufacturing limitations. This single facility exceeded total German production. American production advantages extended across every category of military equipment. American factories manufactured 96,000 aircraft in 1944. Germany produced 40,000. American shipyards launched 2,700 cargo vessels. Germany launched 180. American industrial output exceeded German capacity by ratios between 2-to-1 and 8-to-1, depending on equipment category. This single American facility produced more tanks than entire German industry. German forces tried concentrated artillery barrages against American armor formations. The Americans deployed counter-battery radar that located German guns within 90 seconds of firing, directing suppressive fire that forced German artillery to relocate continuously. They attempted infiltration tactics using small panzer teams for ambush. The Americans deployed forward air controllers who directed fighter bomber strikes within 8 minutes of contact reports. German commanders tried night attacks exploiting superior German optics and crew training. Americans deployed artillery illumination rounds and concentrated machine gun fire that negated infiltration advantages. They attempted defensive positions on elevated terrain, maximizing range advantages. American forces simply bypassed strong points and attacked supply lines, forcing German withdrawal without direct combat. German tactical flexibility confronted American material abundance that rendered conventional countermeasures ineffective. January 8, 1945, near Bastogne, 10:34 hours. Weber's Tiger platoon encountered American forces during repositioning movement to defensive positions. The engagement began at 1034:00 when American reconnaissance reported German armor moving through forest roads. American artillery began firing at 1035:30. At 1037:00, 48 Sherman tanks emerged from 3 directions simultaneously. Weber destroyed the first Sherman at 1037:34. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 1038:12, the second Sherman died. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. At 1038:56, the third Sherman exploded. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 1039:23, Weber destroyed the fourth Sherman. Elapsed time 2 seconds. Kill time 2 seconds. American forces advanced from multiple vectors, maintaining pressure despite casualties. At 1040:08, Weber destroyed the fifth Sherman. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 1040:52, the sixth Sherman burned. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. American tanks reached 800 meters by 1041:00. Weber's wingman destroyed 2 Shermans at 1041:18 and 1041:52. Total German kills 8. American forces still 31 tanks advancing. At 1042:15, Weber destroyed the 7th Sherman. Elapsed time 2 seconds. Kill time 2 seconds. At 1043:00, the 8th Sherman died. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 1043:44, Weber destroyed the 9th Sherman. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. The American assault continued despite German defensive fire, achieving consistent kills. At 1044:00, Weber's platoon had destroyed 13 Shermans total. American forces retained 26 tanks, maintaining attack formation. American shells struck Weber's Tiger at 1044:30, penetrating right side armor. Weber's driver died instantly. The Tiger remained operational on 3 crew. At 1045:12, Weber destroyed the 10th Sherman personally. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Kill time 3 seconds. At 1045:56, the 11th Sherman exploded. Elapsed time 4 seconds. Kill time 4 seconds. American forces surrounded German position by 1046:00. Weber ordered withdrawal at 1046:30. Total engagement duration 12 minutes 30 seconds. German kills 15 Sherman tanks. American tanks remaining 24. German losses 1 Tiger mobility kill, 3 crew killed, 2 crew wounded. The ammunition expended by American forces in this engagement exceeded German monthly combat allocation for entire Panzer Corps. Americans fired approximately 880 75mm rounds, achieving 3 penetrating hits. Germans fired 34 rounds, achieving 15 kills. American willingness to expend ammunition at ratios exceeding 25-to-1 demonstrated industrial abundance that rendered conservation doctrine irrelevant. Major Hoffmann presented final statistical proof to command staff at evening briefing. Hoffmann documented American forces replacing combat losses faster than German forces inflicted them. His analysis showed American Third Army received 84 replacement tanks on January 7, while German forces claimed 29 kills. American net gain, 55 tanks daily. Hoffmann calculated that American numerical advantages would reach 3-1 by February and 5-1 by March, based on current casualty and replacement rates. His presentation included intercepted American logistics reports confirming daily tank deliveries from port facilities. Command staff finally acknowledged that American industrial capacity created unsustainable attrition dynamics. Hoffmann projected German armored forces would cease effective operations by April, unless production increased 8-fold or American losses increased 4-fold. Oberst Müller still refused to accept that material quantity would overcome German qualitative superiority and tactical expertise. Müller argued that American losses remained unsustainable from operational perspective despite replacement capacity. His analysis insisted that American crews lacked experience to exploit numerical advantages, and that German defensive tactics would inflict prohibitive casualties once initial surprise passed. Müller believed German forces would achieve stabilization through mobile defense, exploiting interior lines and superior crew training. His confidence remained unshaken despite statistical evidence suggesting catastrophic German disadvantage in material competition. Müller insisted that tactical excellence would triumph over industrial capacity, as it had throughout military history. Feldwebel Weber observed escalation patterns that challenged his assumptions about sustainable combat operations. Weber noted that American forces immediately replaced destroyed tanks with fresh vehicles and crews. German practice required weeks of maintenance and crew reassignment following major engagements. Weber observed American willingness to accept 5-1 loss ratios because their replacement system restored combat strength within 48 hours. German forces could not match this operational tempo. Weber reported that American tactics evolved from crude frontal assaults to coordinated combined arms operations that exploited German weaknesses systematically. American adaptation suggested organizational learning that compensated for individual crew deficiencies. The mathematics were becoming ominous. Germans achieved superior kill ratios, but lost numerical competitions through attrition they could not replace. At the Press Steel Car Company facility in Philadelphia, automated welding achieved 847 hull completions monthly. Every 14 minutes, another Sherman hull advanced to turret installation. This single facility produced more complete tank hulls than Germany's combined output of 374 armored vehicles monthly. The welding bays operated with precision that eliminated 94% of defects, producing hulls that required minimal rework while maintaining structural integrity exceeding German specifications. Workers operated automated equipment that reduced hull welding time from 42 hours to 6 hours per unit. Americans discarded 23 tons of welding rod stubs daily, metal waste that German forces rationed by the kilogram for field repairs. This single facility exceeded entire German monthly production capacity, while operating at 73% of maximum theoretical output. Americans discarded defective armor plates that Germany allocated for frontline tank repair. Quality control rejected 340 armor plates monthly for minor thickness variations or hardness inconsistencies. German field maintenance units received 280 replacement armor plates monthly for entire panzer forces. American workers threw away more tank armor for failing quality standards than Germany manufactured for combat repairs, demonstrating industrial abundance that treated steel plates as disposable components when slight imperfections appeared during routine inspection. Americans specified armor hardness tolerances within 3 Rockwell points. Germans accepted variations exceeding 8 points because replacement remained unavailable. This single quality control standard exceeded German total repair capacity. Workers threw away rubber track pads that German crews salvaged from destroyed vehicles. Americans manufactured 18,000 replacement track pads monthly and discarded 840 for minor defects. German supply allocated 520 replacement track pads monthly for all Panzer divisions. American workers disposed of more track components for quality control than German logistics provided for maintaining operational readiness across combat formations. Germany implemented elaborate salvage operations recovering track components from destroyed tanks. Americans treated tracks as consumable items requiring replacement rather than repair. German salvage teams stripped components from disabled vehicles under artillery fire. Americans abandoned damaged tanks and ordered new ones. This single aspect of American logistics exceeded entire German field maintenance capacity. The cafeteria at Ford's River Rouge tank production facility discarded more coffee daily than German troops received monthly. Workers consumed and disposed of 280 pounds of coffee grounds daily. German military allocations provided 180 pounds monthly for entire battalion. American industrial workers threw away more coffee waste in cafeteria operations than German soldiers received as morale-sustaining rations, revealing material culture where worker comfort exceeded combat troop sustenance in authoritarian industrial systems. American workers received unlimited coffee during shifts. German combat troops received coffee substitute made from roasted barley 3 times weekly. This single cafeteria waste stream exceeded total German coffee allocation for combat formations. Aluminum scrap from daily Sherman production exceeded German monthly allocation for aircraft construction and tank repair combined. American facilities generated 124 tons of aluminum waste daily from manufacturing processes. German industry allocated 89 tons monthly for Luftwaffe fighters and 34 tons for panzer repairs. Americans produced more aluminum scrap in 24 hours than Germany allocated monthly for maintaining Air Force and Armored Force operational capability. American abundance rendered conservation programs unnecessary. German forces implemented systematic recycling to maintain minimal production. This single aspect exceeded entire German capacity for critical war materials. Discarded tank engines from testing failures exceeded German monthly production for replacement power plants. American quality control rejected 89 engines monthly for performance variations. German factories manufactured 67 replacement engines monthly for field installations. Americans threw away more engines for failing quality standards than Germany produced for combat replacements. American industrial culture emphasized prevention over repair, accepting high rejection rates to ensure deployed equipment met specifications. German practice emphasized maximum utilization of available equipment, regardless of performance variations. This single facility exceeded Germany's total engine production capacity, while American testing standards remained more stringent than German field acceptance criteria. Major Hoffmann compiled comprehensive analysis of American industrial culture for February intelligence summary. Hoffmann documented that American waste in tank manufacturing exceeded total German production across every major component category. His analysis explained that American industrial philosophy emphasized quality control through high rejection rates rather than maximum utilization of marginal components. Hoffmann calculated that Americans could afford rejection rates that would cripple German production because American base manufacturing capacity exceeded German output by 8-to-1 ratios. Hoffmann warned that American industrial advantages represented systematic cultural differences rather than temporary resource mobilization. Hoffmann concluded that democratic industrial systems mobilized voluntary cooperation that exceeded coerced production through superior motivation and organizational flexibility. March 7, 1945, Remagen Bridge, Germany. 96 Sherman tanks faced 23 German armored vehicles, including Oberst Müller's command Panther, in the final major engagement of the Rhine campaign. The engagement lasted 42 minutes total. American forces deployed overwhelming numerical superiority that negated German tactical and mechanical advantages through simple material preponderance. German defensive positions occupied elevated terrain, providing excellent fields of fire. American forces attacked in 3 waves of 32 tanks each, accepting casualties to maintain continuous pressure. German commanders recognized impossibility of tactical victory, but engaged to delay American advance across Rhine bridges. At 8:14 hours, German armor opened fire at 2,100-meter range. At 08:14:18, first Sherman destroyed. Kill time 4 seconds. At 08:14:52 Sherman exploded. Kill time 3 seconds. At 08:15:34 third Sherman died. Kill time 2 seconds. American first wave continued advancing. At 08:16:12 fourth Sherman destroyed. Kill time 3 seconds. At 08:17:00 fifth Sherman burned. Kill time 4 seconds. American forces reached 1,600 meters by 08:17:30. At 08:18:08 sixth Sherman exploded. Kill time 3 seconds. At 08:18:56 seventh Sherman died. Kill time 4 seconds. At 08:19:23 eighth Sherman destroyed. Kill time 2 seconds. First American wave, reduced to 24 tanks, reached effective firing range at 08:20:00. German armor destroyed 3 more Shermans between 08:20:30 and 08:22:00. American return fire achieved first kill at 08:22:45. 1 Panzer IV destroyed by combined fire from 4 Shermans. Elapsed time from multiple Sherman engagement, 43 seconds. At 08:23:30 second American wave of 32 tanks crested ridge. German armor faced 56 American tanks. At 08:24:30 Americans destroyed second German tank, a Panther hit by 3 75mm rounds simultaneously. Kill time, aggregate of 18 seconds across 3 firing tanks. At 08:25:12 third German vehicle burned. Kill time, 23 seconds aggregate fire. At 08:26:00 American numerical superiority overwhelmed German firing discipline. German tanks faced target-rich environment but could only engage single tanks sequentially. American tanks engaged each German vehicle with 3 or 4 Shermans simultaneously. At 08:26:34 Americans destroyed 4th German tank. Elapsed time, 19 seconds aggregate. At 08:27:18 5th German tank died. Elapsed time, 22 seconds aggregate. At 08:28:45 6th German vehicle exploded. Elapsed time, 16 seconds aggregate. German kill rate decreased as American numbers forced rapid target switching. At 08:30:00 third American wave of 32 tanks entered engagement. German forces faced 79 American tanks. Mathematical impossibility of German tactical victory became obvious to all participants. At 08:32:00 American tanks achieved flanking positions that negated German armor advantages. Shermans engaged German vehicles from 3 directions simultaneously. At 08:33:45 Americans destroyed 3 German tanks in 90 seconds. At 08:35:00 4 more German vehicles burned. At 08:36:30 German defensive line collapsed under numerical pressure. At 08:37:15 Oberst Heinrich Müller's Panther took 4 75mm hits on turret and hull side. At 08:37:18 ammunition detonated. Oberst Müller was killed instantly along with his entire crew. Elapsed time from engagement to death, 3 seconds from final hit. Total engagement time before death, 23 minutes 18 seconds. Müller died achieving tactically superior performance that proved strategically irrelevant. By 08:40:00 German resistance effectively ended. American forces destroyed 17 German tanks and 6 assault guns. German forces destroyed 31 American tanks. Kill ratio, 1.3:1 in German favor. But Americans retained 65 operational tanks. German armor ceased to exist as tactical force. The engagement demonstrated that numerical superiority overwhelmed qualitative advantages when ratios exceeded 4:1. The ammunition expended by American forces in this 42-minute engagement exceeded German monthly combat allocation for 3 Panzer divisions. The fuel consumed exceeded German weekly allocation for entire 7th Army. This single battle consumed more resources than German logistics could provide for sustained operations. Feldwebel Weber observed Remagen from reserve position. His Tiger held back for final defense. Weber witnessed German tactical excellence achieve better kill ratios than American forces, but lose the engagement through simple numerical insufficiency. Weber noted that German crews maintained firing discipline and achieved kills at maximum effective range. American forces simply absorbed casualties and continued attacking until German defensive positions became untenable. Weber recognized that German military excellence had become irrelevant when American industrial capacity deployed overwhelming material superiority. Weber survived Remagen, but understood that German armored forces faced mathematical impossibility of victory against opponent replacing losses faster than German forces inflicted casualties. Captured American logistics officer stated during interrogation, "This wasn't combat, this was systematic annihilation. We knew German tanks were better. We knew German crews were better trained. We brought 4 tanks for every one of theirs. When they killed one, we brought up another, and another, and another. They ran out of ammunition before we ran out of tanks. That's not warfare, that's industrial application of force. We calculated acceptable loss ratios and deployed sufficient material to achieve objectives regardless of German tactical performance. German excellence became irrelevant when we brought sufficient quantity to overwhelm quality through attrition they couldn't sustain." May 1945, Allied Intelligence Facility, Frankfurt. Major Klaus Hoffmann testified before Allied intelligence officers compiling data on German armored operations and industrial capacity. Hoffmann provided detailed analysis of German defeat from perspective of intelligence officer who warned repeatedly about American production advantages. His testimony revealed systematic German failure to comprehend democratic industrial mobilization. Hoffmann stated, "We were not defeated by better soldiers, but by better factories." American tank production in 1944 reached 17,565 vehicles. German production achieved 5,966. A single American factory, Detroit Tank Arsenal, produced 1,410 tanks monthly. Our entire industry managed 374 armored vehicles monthly total. Americans outproduced us by ratios that rendered tactical excellence irrelevant. One American facility exceeded our maximum national effort. We failed to understand that democratic industrial systems mobilize voluntary cooperation exceeding coerced production. Feldwebel Weber provided combat perspective from experienced tank commander who survived the entire war. Weber described transformation from German tactical dominance to American material supremacy. Weber testified, "I saw our tactical superiority become meaningless against numerical overwhelming. The Americans deployed tanks faster than we could destroy them. At Remagen, we achieved better kill ratios than American forces. We still lost because they brought 4 tanks for each of ours. They didn't just outproduce us, they revolutionized production itself. American workers manufactured tanks using assembly methods that our engineers considered impossible. Their industrial culture emphasized standardization, interchangeability, and automated processes that achieved quality through systematic methods rather than skilled craftsmanship. Free workers outproduced our regimented labor through superior motivation and organizational flexibility." Additional testimonies from German officers and enlisted personnel revealed consistent themes about American industrial superiority and German miscalculation. Oberst Franz Becker, Panzer Regiment commander, testified, "We brought swords to an industrial war. American production capacity overwhelmed our tactical excellence. They accepted 5-to-1 casualty ratios because their factories replaced losses in 48 hours. We required weeks for repairs and months for replacement vehicles. American willingness to trade lives and equipment at seemingly unsustainable rates proved sustainable because their industrial base exceeded our comprehension. We calculated attrition based on German production capacity. Americans operated on different mathematical assumptions." Hauptmann Wolfgang Klein, logistics officer, stated, "Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort. Americans discarded more equipment for quality control than we manufactured monthly. They treated precision components as disposable items. We salvaged parts from destroyed vehicles. American industrial culture operated on assumptions of material abundance that made conservation unnecessary. We rationed steel by kilogram. They discarded tons daily. This single cultural difference revealed systematic advantages we could not overcome through tactical excellence or operational skill. Democratic abundance buried authoritarian efficiency under literal tonnage." Major Werner Schmidt, Training Command, testified, "They could lose 60 tanks in a single engagement and restore full combat strength within 3 days. We lost 6 tanks and required 2 months for replacement vehicles and crew training. American replacement system operated faster than our casualties could reduce their effective strength. The mathematics were catastrophic. They produced tanks faster than we could destroy them and trained crews faster than we could kill them. American industrial mobilization created self-sustaining cycle where production capacity exceeded attrition regardless of German tactical performance. We achieved tactical victories that proved strategically meaningless because American logistics restored their combat power faster than we could degrade it. German officers provided statistical documentation confirming American industrial superiority across all categories. Major Hoffmann presented comprehensive analysis comparing production capacity. American production 1944, 17,565 tanks. German production 1944, 5,966 armored vehicles. Single American facility monthly output, 1,410 tanks. Entire German industry monthly, 374 vehicles. American aircraft production 1944, 96,000. German aircraft, 40,000. American industrial output exceeded German capacity by 2.9 to 1 ratio in tanks, 2.4 to 1 in aircraft, and 4.2 to 1 in ammunition manufacturing. These ratios explain German defeat better than tactical analyses or campaign studies. Industrial capacity determined strategic outcomes regardless of tactical performance. Feldwebel Weber summarized German perspective on industrial defeat with stark honesty. Weber stated, "We had better tanks, we had better crews, we had better tactics. We lost because Americans had better factories. Their Detroit arsenal alone produced more tanks than our entire nation. They wasted more steel daily than we allocated monthly. Their industrial culture operated on assumptions we couldn't comprehend. Free workers outproduced our regimented labor. Democratic cooperation exceeded our authoritarian command. American abundance buried our excellence under tonnage. The mathematics were irrefutable. Industrial capacity determined victory when production exceeded attrition regardless of tactical performance. We learned too late that modern warfare rewards manufacturing efficiency more than battlefield excellence." The Sherman mass production program proved that democratic industrial systems outperformed authoritarian alternatives when fully mobilized for sustained competition. Free workers operating automated machinery with standardized processes achieved production rates that exceeded regimented labor using traditional methods. American industrial culture emphasized systematic efficiency over skilled craftsmanship, creating manufacturing capacity that scaled beyond what German planners considered feasible. Democratic cooperation generated innovations in production engineering that authoritarian command structures could not replicate. Industrial abundance buried ideological superiority under literal tonnage of war material. American workers motivated by wages and voluntary participation outproduced German conscripted labor through superior morale and organizational flexibility. Free workers outproduced slaves. Democratic cooperation exceeded totalitarian command. Industrial abundance generated by market economies overwhelmed scarcity imposed by authoritarian control. The mathematics favored free peoples in sustained competitions requiring voluntary cooperation and decentralized innovation. American production advantages stemmed from cultural factors that valued individual initiative and rewarded productivity through wages rather than coercion. German industrial system maximized existing capacity, but could not generate innovations in manufacturing methods that revolutionized production efficiency. Americans transformed automotive assembly techniques into military manufacturing systems, achieving unprecedented scale. December 7, 1944. Oberst Heinrich Müller had laughed at American Sherman tanks as mechanical rubbish unworthy of German tactical concern. May 8, 1945. Müller died at Remagen when 4 American 75mm shells penetrated his Panthers' armor simultaneously, killed by numerical superiority that rendered his tactical excellence irrelevant. The mockery in that Trier headquarters became history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in complete German defeat, 300,000 armored crew casualties, and occupation lasting 4 decades. American industrial mobilization demonstrated that material abundance combined with systematic production methods created military advantages that tactical excellence could not overcome. Sherman tanks individually proved inferior to German Panthers and Tigers in most combat parameters. American production deployed 49,234 Sherman tanks between 1942 and 1945. Germany manufactured 6,557 Panthers and 1,347 Tigers total. Americans produced 8 Shermans for every German heavy tank. This numerical superiority transformed tactical disadvantages into strategic victory through simple arithmetic of material preponderance. Individual Sherman inferiority became strategically irrelevant when production deployed sufficient numbers to overwhelm German defenses through attrition German logistics could not sustain. The lesson remains: underestimating democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace, or dismissing free people's productive capacity because authoritarian systems appear more efficient, invites catastrophic miscalculation. Democratic industrial systems mobilize voluntary cooperation that exceeds coerced labor. Free societies innovate through decentralized initiative rather than centralized command. Material abundance generated by market economies overwhelms scarcity imposed by authoritarian control. The mathematics favor free peoples in sustained competitions. Dismissing these advantages, as Oberst Müller discovered too late, produces defeat measured in tonnage rather than tactics. Industrial capacity determines modern warfare, outcomes more than battlefield prowess, when production scales exceed tactical capabilities, to inflict attrition faster than replacement systems restore combat strength.